baptism of fire against the reborn Astral yesterday for Gaimin Corp. The man was playing unlike we've seen him for many, many months, even better perhaps than he was playing in London at the Spring Major. So it was incredibly tough for them coming up against the former best player in the world. Now they're up against Gladiators. They will be favourites here. I think it was 80% of our Twitch chat predicted no one would take this one, but it's Gladiators that get a goal after 7 seconds, and look at them loving it.
LCT immediately incredibly happy, and Commutator too. Maxu up for the double taps. The Sonics didn't quite realise where that ball was going to be going and does get dunked on. Maxu staying nice and close to it, and Commutator was there for the ride as well. The man subbing in at the 11th hour. I respect him, honestly, so much for that. It is brilliant to see. That is the team effort that these guys are putting forward.
I mean, I've played in sort of like, I love that card, by the way. I've played in creator tournaments with pro players, and I was terrified. Every movement I made, even though they were very lovely, shout out Ixo, who won for me, it was still a scary thing, right? And that was online. That was at my house. That was where I am very comfortable at my desk, where I spend most of my time because I am a hashtag gamer. For Commutator, he's doing that in a different country, at a LAN, where ultimately he's playing in a $2 million prize pool. It is petrifying. So seeing Gladiators, give him those good vibes, smile alongside him after that early goal, seeing him diving in when maybe he shouldn't have, that's what they have to be doing, and that's what I love, and that's what I love about esports and stories like this one. You know, ultimately it's a sad thing that Abs Crazy isn't able to play, but they're making the most of it, so well done Gladiators so far.
Good progression down the pitch as well. Another chance for a shot, but Ams clearing it away. Commutator having to reverse back round, sent along by Ams. Commutator again going towards that right-hand wall. Does manage to get the dunk, but it only goes towards the Zonics. 40 boost, can't quite dunk over the top, but now Maxu able to get one touch into the center. The boost pick as well. Boost I've seen a couple of times going quite well in favor of Gladiators.
Love seeing LCT using the Dominus, and Gladiators have started quick as well. Clean touches. There is a chance that Maxu has to save, and does so. Well done, Maxu. Commutator is there, but is called off the ball by Maxu. Yeah, I am just impressed by what I've seen from the APAC South team so far, zipping the ball about with some real pace and meaning. Am's going to be able to take a touch here. There will be times where they get bunched up and double commit and over commit. That can be the risk, and that one is prodded in by Zonics. 0-1, deal with that early pressure and score a goal themselves.
It was the bump that came in from Mossin as well, bumping Maxu out of the way, and Commutator, suddenly left backwards on the goal line, pushed up just a touch too far, then had to reverse. Not the best position from him, so 0-1 being able to level up this game. And if those bumps come in and you are just removing players from the pitch, as we have seen instantly off that kickoff, it becomes a lot harder to deal with.
Commutator's going to get a touch here. Good to see him getting involved in the play. So over the top, LCT is going to be bumped out the sky by the Zonics. Oh, you have to love an aerial bump.
On the backboard as well, he actually flips immediately towards that sideboard and then leaves and removes LCT from the conversation entirely. A little bit of frustration potentially starting to emerge on the side of Gladiators.
This one's going to be a lead for 0-1 Esports. Good kickoff there from Gladiators. The kickoff game has been strong as well. Had lots of early pressure from these set plays. But that's well dealt with so far by 0-1 Esports. Am's trying to get involved. Commutator is going to get that one eventually. Mossan's coming in. There'll be some boost until Zonics gets the ball. They're just getting a little bit bunched up, Gladiators, as we expected they would. They have to keep those communication levels strong, and they have to sort of predict that Commutator will do weird stuff and play around that. It can be an advantage. You see it sometimes, you know, when a pro player is playing in a ranked game. I know this is completely different, but they can be surprised by the unpredictability, but, I mean, that was unpredictable by Zonics.
Yeah, being able to take that touch nicely from Mossin as well. Manages to fake out Max, who slows down the play entirely, and then both Gladiators backflipping with the opportunity to save it. Zonics catching it wonderfully. Halfway through this game, number one is 3-1 to 0-1.
I think this is actually a wonderful example of just how good every player that's made it to this point is. Oh my goodness, Mossan, that ball was 9/10 over the line and somehow didn't make it through. But how good they really are, that quick burst of pace that Commutator just couldn't really deal with, because the differences are so vast at the pro level. There he is though, getting involved again. So Zonics charges him down. Maxu to the backboard with him. Lovely pass from Mossan, tries to tee up his teammate, but LCT was up. Commutator, there he is in the corner. Mossan up to the sky. So Gladiators are refusing to just, you know, succumb to all of this 0-1 pressure.
A misread as well from Zonics, but it does end up going his way in the end. Can air dribble around. A miss on the boost from LCT. Sound like a demo came in, but I didn't actually see who it was. I think it was Maxu returning. Commutator managing to just send it down, and you see the top right camera. He puts his arms in the air, and he is delighted.
There he goes. Well done, lad. You love to see that. Getting himself a goal. Beautiful. 2-3 now, Gladiators. They are well and truly in this one. 0-1 do have to, you know, make sure that they respect their opponents and don't get too carried away, because if they overcommit, they will be giving away free goals.
Keeping an eye on him ultimately, he can still hit the ball as hard as the others can. Trying to just work it way around. Moston isn't able to get the pass off, and with 0 boost, he has to retreat. Maxu trying to go for 1 touch. But look at that chance for the bump away to the double commit on defense. The bumps continue to rain in on the Gladiators side.
Oh, well played there. There was a big bump from 0-1, and somehow the 2 Gladiators defenders that remained were able to combine to just get anything on that, get some part of their car on the ball. They're starting to be a little bit boost-starved right now. Only LCT on the Gladiators team has any. That miss from 0-1 will help, because it means that Commutator's challenge can go to the center, as long as Maxu then follows up and makes the decent save. 1 minute left, and this one is pretty close.
A few defensive plays from Maxu just leaves that chance going. Commutator, he did cause that situation to be as sketchy as it was, but in the end he can clear it away this time instead. Just getting those awkward touches in defense. He's not doing a particularly strong job where you'd necessarily expect a main roster player to do so, but that's something that Gladiators need to work around. A long shot, not quite finding his way in that time. LCT leading the charge. That
could have been another goal right there for Gladiators. 0-1 really have to turn down these overcommits, because they're leaving their goal open, and fakes like that from LCT are able to punish them. That AMS demo will help, surely. He goes to the ceiling, but Commutator is up there quickly. Just, even though he didn't get the ball, he confused AMS somewhat. The attack from 0-1 does continue, though.
Chance for a shot, so Zonix going to get around the side. Maxu going low with it. His defense has been precisely what Gladiators need to keep this at a 3-2. So Zonix's aggression is pushing Gladiators as hard as they can be pushed, and LCT taking charge of that ball. 0 boost, though. It won't go too far. Commutator up to the sky. Can he dunk onto Zonix? Not quite. That will be going a touch too far. Maxu cannot keep it up. And game 1, somewhat predictably, going towards 0-1, but not with a scoreline I think a lot of us would have expected.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was a really good game of Rocket League. It was fast-paced from Gaimin Gladiators. 0-1, they managed to get themselves the advantage there with a few goals, but Gaimin Gladiators came back into it, and all 3 of them involved as well. You know, often when you see a lesser-level player, they might have 100 odd points. Commutator with 321, and that goal is just, he's calling for it. You know, he's wanting the ball, which you want to see.
And the saves you see in total, we've got 9 on the side of Gladiators, and I think 1 or 2 on the side of 0-1. So a lot of pressure going to Gladiators, but that is where Maxu really shined, I feel.
Yes, exactly, it did. But 0-1, you know, they have to stay, they're being kept very honest right now by Gaimin Gladiators,
yes, for sure,
which is impressive. But you know, this is the team of wonderful players. Mechanically, they are fantastic. I think if anybody is watching their spring performances, it's not representative of how good this team actually is. And I'm so happy they have been given this opportunity by the performance from Falcons, you know, going so far, so deep into these events, that there is space, because of course there's space in the World Championships for a third MENA team.
This is, bear in mind, yeah, as you say, it's MENA. It's the first time that they've been able to get this opportunity to play at the RLCS. This is after our 3 regional events where we've just seen Falcons being able to compete from MENA. Having 0-1 come through to the World Championships is outstanding for the region. And as we've said, you know, down in 0-1 part of this bracket, or rather the 0-1, to not confuse people, part of the bracket, or part of the Swiss, it just means that we are going to be seeing some more of the less established regions playing, but it's just good to have them playing off against each other. Ooh. And their dribble going as far as it could do from Moston, and the shot able to find its way in the end from AMS.
I'm really glad that we are going to be able to see, because the Swiss is so long, the sort of true power of 0-1 Esports, as they do, you know, get used to being in North America as their sleep schedule does recover, because I do think that's a massive aspect that cannot be forgotten, how difficult that must be to pretty much arrive and then the next day, oh, suddenly you're playing Rocket League. Oh, it's against Astral, who's playing the best he's played in ages. It's not easy at all, and this is the sort of series that will allow them just to get some peace and grow into it.
Good chance for AMS there to score. We've not spoken too much about him, but he does manage to send one towards the net. Commutator taking good charge of this ball. Moston pre-jumping him, but Commutator gets it out the way. LCT, can he double it around? But no, AMS on the back ball can clear it off to that left wall. Maxu up for the commit.
I've got to say, LCT in particular, based on what we've seen for this game and a bit, is a really good player. Every touch he makes of that Dominus is pretty perfect, really. His mechanics very clean, able to take air dribbles, knows when to take a touch and when to just get rid of it. Been really impressed with him, with then Maxu, I think, filling in the gaps because things are a little bit more tricky. Look at LCT, he's always following, he's always there, he's always getting the goals on target. Not quite there, can it be stuck in? Almost a lead for Gladiators.
So close as well. Maxi isn't able to just squeak it around the side of the defense, but Maxi putting in a lot of legwork alongside LCT. Commutator going in for that attack. Maxi just rotating back ball side. Not too much of an issue because it ends up just being a pass back in the end. LCT to challenge off, goes high. Commutator up into the sky, but with no real plan on that ball, just giving possession back to 0-1.
Good touch there from Mossan. Good speed as well. LCT stood up strong. Maxiu's getting a little bit more involved since I mentioned his teammate. Now he's getting the flip resets, using the Octane to its full potential. Good touch from Commutator as well. LCT's being let in. It does seem to be that the game plan is to feed LCT as much as possible, let him go, try and do some damage on the other side and get some dunks. And it's, again, a really even opening to this game.
Good positioning for Commutator there too. He was in the midfield, came in when he needed to be. It meant the ball didn't just go flying down the orange side of the pitch, but Zazonix in the sky has to be blocked out by Maxiu. Does so, goes to the ground to get the 100 boost, but Anne sneaks it away in front of him. Boost is getting dangerously low for Gladiators. 35 at least guaranteed there on the side of LCT as he respawns back in. Oh, Commutator backflips when he had the chance to get the opening goal in game 2.
Yeah, just a little bit close to the ball there was Commutator. Has to bear in mind the power that these pro players can generate on their passes. Underestimating what they're capable of. That's great play from AMS though. 0-1 just trying to get the initiative in this second game. They haven't really had it all for themselves so far right now. Mossan, those clean touches and the demos will really help. Can there be a pass for him? No, there won't, because Commutator speeding and steaming in. Great play. That one, I think, is sneaking in and rushed off the back wall.
That time, though, just being coming down to LCT and Maxu. Commutator, he gave the ball away, but Zazonix gave that ball straight to AMS, shooting in an awkward position. I would have expected LCT or Maxu to maybe get a touch there. It ends up being a bit of a defensive error from them, but the passing coming in from Commutator, that is where it all started. That's where the blame potentially does have to lie. The opportunity, regardless, very much taken by 0-1 Esports.
Here's AMS just laying that ball on a plate to Zazonix. Zazonix is beaten by LCT again. Which has been everywhere on the pitch right now for Gladiators. Mossan in the far corner, just able to hold on to their lead for a little while, 0-1. It was another good kickoff there from Commutator for the Gladiators. Good touch from AMS. It's going to be really tricky to defend against. Commutator times his dodge very well. But then who's going to win this race? LCT again. The man is a savior for Gladiators time after time.
Zazonix looking like he was going high with that ball, instead passed it towards Mossan. 70 boost after picking up the 100, can get one touch and then goes for the bump. AMS to shoot it away. Commutator bumping his teammate out of that save.
But they got away with it though, at least for now. Still the pressure is on. Mossan's touch is high. Might actually let Maxiu in. It was a really good recovery from AMS because that touch was not ideal from the 0-1 player. Zazonix does the right thing, slows things down, just tries to get the flick over the top, but it is met. I think it was Maxiu who lost his car in the moment. LCT's coming in right now onto the back wall. Commutator's involved again. Maxiu wants to get 100 boost. Will it spawn for him? Not quite, so he can only use 14. Tries to get it into the center. Not quite going to happen. LCT high. That touch was a little bit heavy, but he might still be able to make something from it. Wants to get the single reset and does. Directs it towards the goal. And again, we're going to the last 45 seconds, Stumpy, with only one goal the difference.
It has been much closer than I anticipated, to be completely honest. Commutator actually putting up a great performance.
Yeah, really good.
Ultimately, his touch led to the goal, but it's 1-0 versus a brilliant Middle Eastern team. So Gladiators certainly taking a lot away from this. Zazonix, he can go for 1 or 2, and in the end, Maxiu keeps it to 0.
Yeah, great challenge there from Maxiu. It was really tough when all that time was had for the 0-1 player, but now we have 20 seconds left. Gladiators have to get something going. That's a good clean touch from Commutator. Wants the second, but Zazonix prods it past him. Can they get this ball? It's really good game management so far from 0-1, but that might be the moment that Gladiators breach. Maxiu desperate for this ball. Mossan, what a touch that is with a few seconds left.
Pings it high, finds Zazonix on the opposite side. This now ball touching down in front of the net. 2-0 in this series, in our lower series games, in our wildcard 0-1. Looking for 0-1 to go 1-1 and play off against one of our teams that is going to be winning their game in here as well, or potentially one of the ones that loses from one of the upper bracket matches.
I mean, I'm not getting the impression that 0-1 Esports are particularly enjoying themselves in this matchup. They know that they're in for a grind right now. They know that, you know, the anomaly of playing against a player that is, as I mentioned at the start of this series, unpredictable and can shock them and will do stuff where they are, I have no doubt, saying, why has he done that?
Yeah.
Why has he hit it in that direction? Why has he taken a touch there? It always happens in any esport, any sport, when someone who isn't built like the pros doesn't play their way. And it can be advantageous. And we're seeing from Commutator for Gaimin Gladiators that he really is having, I would say, a positive effect for his team right now. I cannot understate overstate, sorry, how impressed I have been with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he is dragging them down necessarily. That goal, okay, it came from his error, but it was one. Like, that's one goal. I'm really not too worried about that at all. Maxu, he got 5 saves in that game, and he really kept that one close. His defense has been brilliant. He's still happy. He still knows that, you know, this is ultimately an opportunity for the boys to be here competing on the world stage. But 2-0 in the series. If they can get one, that will be their first win that they have had at an international event. They went 0-3 versus G2, they went 0-3 versus Furia, and now they've gone, and then yesterday they went 0-4 versus Dignitas. So 1 game win will be a record breaker for the boys from APAC.
There's definitely a game on the table for them if they can reach out and take it, but 0-1, same as earlier. In our first matchup, will not want to give it to them by any means at all. They're going to have to do some defending right now, Gladiators. And for the first time, I think, in this series, 0-1 take an early lead.
Yeah, which I'm sure they'll be happy about. The double commit coming in from LCT and I believe also actually Maxu. I don't believe that was even Commutator's issue. It came down to the 2 seasoned players on Gladiators. The fact that 0-1 managed to get that goal is going to be potentially weighing on the minds of those 2 fellas.
Where's this one going to land? It's going to be to Zazonix, who puts that one into the centre, but again, great pace from LCT. He has such a good read of the game. I know his car got removed in the process. Commutator, that's risky, but LCT was behind him because he spawned. Smart play. It's risky, but it was the right decision. Once about the pressure, though, the shot comes in from Zazonix, and it's 2. And maybe this is the point where 0-1 just start to pull away just a bit.
I think the defender faked out as well. Commutator thought it was going to be the jump from the side, but instead, actually, he ramps off that inside post. And so when he goes to jump, he just goes nowhere because his wheels are not on the floor. I just stay low with it, but still, Zazonix the speed. That's something that's just so different between these levels. He, I believe, is around a GC2 level. I have got to that level previously. If I was in this lobby, I would be absolutely embarrassed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You definitely would be, mate.
One of either of us, right?
You certainly would be embarrassed.
No, but you too?
We beat Alpha once in ranked.
I won an event with Fairy P.
There you go. There you go. So maybe you'd be doing all right, but not as well as our man Commutator. But sadly, yeah, as we said, this game is just starting to get against them. Maybe they're starting to run out of steam. The exhaustion starts to lie in because the concentration levels they would be having to put to come up against 0-1 in this series, literally 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and just because it's your brain rather than brawn, it doesn't mean it's not tiring.
It's probably extra as well, realistically, because not only are LCT and Maxi having to think, right, okay, we need to be winning this game against an opponent that normally we would not be the favourites against. They then need to think, right, I need to put in the extra 20% to be filling in the gaps where Abs Crazy previously would have been doing such a good job. It makes it so hard.
And it explains double commits like the one earlier, when they are trying to do so much and think about so much. Very little of this is instinct for Gladiators right now.
They're trying to be 20% more player than they normally would be, and that is such a hard thing to do. But right now, we're just seeing 0-1 try to take this game on their own shoulders. A long shot by LCT, but does go wide of the goals. Zazonix can wrap himself around it and picks up 12 boosts, but good ambition for LCT to be going for that dunk in the end. Maxu saving away, finds LCT on that backside. 30 boost high towards Commutator. He looked great in an air show, but you do need to make the touch.
I mean, yeah, this is sort of what I want to see from 0-1 as well. I want to see them go for some of these solo plays and really make themselves feel comfortable on an individual level. You know, these players have been playing together for 2.5, 3 years. They know each other's quirks. They're seeming pretty happy around each other as a team. That's fine. What you really want to do is start to believe that you can take down some challenges when you have the ball, when you have the pressure, because there will be moments in this tournament where they have to step up individually. Now's the time to practice and really start to feel comfortable on that main stage.
LCT working out from that back line as we approach half-time in this game. Game number 3 of our best of 7. A timeout, bear in mind, can be taken for Gladiators. That is what they are afforded. Commutator being beaten out by that shot. But the boost stolen by LCT in his own corner with Zazonix breathing down his neck.
Now, so he does have Commutator in the centre. Maxu's a little bit too close for comfort, so Commutator could be left a bit stranded here with 3 players, but that's a really well-timed challenge again. So just have a chance to put that one just into the corner. LCT, another fantastic read from him. Commutator now, he's got to get a ball away into the corner from 0-1. 2 minutes left. Gladiators, can they just wrestle some control in this game? It hasn't really happened for them so far. so you might be able to change that now. But Mosan up so quickly. 0-1, they're starting to play a lot faster as well. They're getting the read on Gladiators, which has taken a couple of games.
Yeah, they're getting into it. Ultimately, as much as we say Gladiators need to work their way into this game, 0-1 are doing the exact same thing. You know, they're over on the alternate stream. They're seeing what is going on. They've woken up after their hopefully very pleasant slumber, and they got themselves a little bit more energy. So 0-1 growing into this as much as they can too, wanting to get that 1-on-1 position for the Middle Eastern region and ultimately for their own glory too.
I mean, we were saying about how they're trying to do 20% more. We saw Max Yu, who got the flip reset, then went for the challenge, which Commutator went for as well. Then he reversed and tried to doink it up. Meanwhile, LCT was coming in, so that defensive chaos must be just unbearable to deal with the Gladiators when you have the might of 0-1 Esports and Zazonix bearing down upon you.
Looking pretty regular as well. Mossen just coming in, being faster, being the better player, and Commutator looking up, seeing the ball coming down, misses it, and Zazonix can just tap it in on the goal line. 4-0 in game number 3, certainly going the way of 0-1.
Minute left in this one, and I think it's a game to forget for Gladiators, but thankfully for them, this is a best of 7. This will not be how this series
Do they take a break?
Away.
Do you think? A timeout? Just do it, why not? We're on the stage, let's have it.
I honestly don't know. Honestly,
I don't know what it would change. In the nicest way?
Well, I'll tell you what, though. We were saying they were actually starting to get mentally tired. So maybe it literally would be considered a break.
And Bravado, when they took theirs, they then got 3 goals, I believe, in the subsequent game. So maybe, actually, it's right, but...
Yeah, I think, okay, yeah, do you know what? You've taught me around and I've taught myself around.
I still don't believe
you've got a twist, but there's more pressure coming in. No!
Oh!
Commutator so close, couldn't quite get it. Mosan surely isn't going to get the counter-attack goal. No, he's not. It's just wide.
No!
Good moment for Gladiators, but not quite to be.
I'm gutted. I could see myself in his shoes just then, being like, oh my god, I can score a goal.
He already
I
has,
can
though.
do that.
He did in game 1.
In this game, sorry, to make it at least like a 4-1. But could not quite bring it around. The final 10 seconds will count down. It's all garbage time at the end of the day, but sometimes one man's garbage is another man's goal.
Well, no goals here. All garbage. Nah, it's not been garbage at all from Gladiator. This has been a tough game
You
for
said
them.
it because it sounded cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And
But
you
I do
immediately
believe
thought,
it.
don't want that to be a clip. Do not want that to be a clip. Do not fancy it.
Cole calls Gladiators garbage. No, honestly, I am just so impressed with this team. LCT, let it drop, mate. Don't risk a fifth.
He is
5-0.
smiling though, not too bothered. They lost the game regardless. Going into game number 4, 5-0 down. He fancied something special, wasn't able to get it in the end. Timeout, question mark?
I might have gone back again. I think no. I think just dive straight in, you know. I think take any momentum that you've got. Just try and be as unpredictable as possible. Try and be quick. LCT, he does seem to have the read against 0-1 Esports. 0-1 Esports have been improving as well, and a tactical timeout is not going to change that. The only thing I'd say is that if they do take a quote-unquote tactical timeout, use it just to relax. Just to let themselves recharge a little bit. So that's why I would, but I can also see for the same reasons why they wouldn't, because they want to get it done.
Yeah, LCT as well, topping the table in terms of the points over on Gladiators. But Mossen, look at him getting 2 goals himself and getting 3 assists all over the place for 0-1. Game number 4, I expect to go much the same way. It is a 0-on-1 match ultimately. A lot of experience being gamed. Commutator, he was quite happy and quite excited earlier on. I'm hoping that he comes out of this game, not used to wearing the headset for this amount of time either, in a completely different place. Like, my gosh, this is the whole experience that I'm not used to. But what an experience it must be. Yeah,
I mean, also as well, I guess it is to an extent good for Gaming Gladiators, because when they are back next season, and I'm sure they will make majors, they're going to be playing with their full roster. You know, Abs Crazy will be there next to them, and they'll be thinking, if we can push a team as good as 0-1 Esports, as respected as the 3rd best team in the Middle East, as far as we have with our substitute, my goodness, we can get serious wins. We can score serious goals when we have our full roster next season.
Yeah, for sure. And I really just want to see Abs Crazy playing again, to be honest. I've really enjoyed watching him throughout the entire season so far, whenever he's been graced on my television screen. But an own goal opening it up, and Commutator, he is very, very happy, as is Mossen.
Ams looked a little bit annoyed, and Mosan just giggled, and I love that reaction. Because it was Ams that made the touch, and then he was looking at his teammates like, are they going to be annoyed at me? But they just chuckled away. I mean, that's when, you know, they've been playing together for that long, you know, they understand how to interact with each other. But hey, Gladiators get a goal.
It'd be rude of me not to say, blow the whistle, ref. Gladiators, you get game 4. Let's move on to 5.
Who actually got credited with the goal?
Commutator.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right, cool. 1-0 Gladiators. Commentators called up into action again. He's actually had some really good challenges. Well-timed, clean, using the entirety of his Fennec to just get behind the ball and get it away. He's done really well in that regard. Throughout this series, oh, there was a miss there, but somehow it pings itself wide.
Pinched off towards that right-hand side and falls back into the possession of the Zonics too. Commutator clearing it away, shutting it down. And maybe he's just been told, look, mate, just throw your face at that ball and see what damage you can do. Just don't give them the opportunity to have threatening attacks on the net, because ultimately, Maxiu, he can do a lot, but he cannot do everything on defense.
Oh, that's tough. That's very difficult there. I think there was a slightly wrong decision. Mosan looks to the side and looks justified.
And they're giggling as well. Maxiu just getting in the way of Commutator. All of these guys, they're just laughing on both sides, like, nah.
It's the vibe we wanted. It's the vibe you have to have.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Exactly, but we have had competitive games in this series. Maybe this will turn into one again if AMS can be blocked by Commutator. He goes under. Maxiu and LCT double commit. It's actually a really nice touch from Maxiu. Who gets the musty flick? Because why not?
That's Maxiu. He's been getting musty flicks all season. As far as I'm concerned, he manages to get those going up into hopefully a bit better positions rather than just on his own defense. But LCT touching that actually quite nicely. The double commit again between Maxiu and a Commutator. As weird as it sounds, I don't want Commutator to get too confident.
Talk me through that one, coach.
Because I don't want him to just keep throwing himself when it's silly. You can be very aggressive and you can throw yourself at the ball as often as you like, but you need to communicate that. You can't be like, right, this is my ball to go for. You need to be clever with it. You can't just be a bit brainless and throwing your way there. I don't think he's there yet, but I do see the trends starting to emerge.
Well, will we see Commutator, the communicator, the next 3 minutes of this one? That's a great clearance from him. Maxiu is following it up as well. Gladiators once again beating that ball away with a few good touches in defense. And then Maxiu, a huge bump on Mosan. Is anybody following up? Zonics, though, takes a couple of touches on the floor. The ground play from the Middle Eastern region, you know, so many of these players have made statements to themselves in the 1v1 world. Their challenge game, infinitely good. But Commutator couldn't quite get that touch.
Touch that really would have given the ball a little bit more spice to find its way into the back of the net. Shooting as AMS tries to double back on that ball to score it back behind him. Zonics to the ceiling, but bumped is Mosan by Maxiu, and with a chance again to go up for the double. Instead, AMS is there. Another defensive mistake, this time occurring in the midfield. Commutator couldn't get the touch, and look at LCT. He has to get back. He has to do something. But with two players from O1 barreling down, it's rarely going to be enough.
Yeah, LCT did his best to get a tough read from a pretty impossible position there. He almost got there. He hoped that he'd at least done enough to put off the O1 player, but O1 were just watching it like a hawk. They weren't going to take their eyes off that ball at all. And now O1 have taken the lead after that disastrous start they had from the kickoff, the own goal from AMS. This could be a chance. Here's LCT, he takes a few touches. Can he get the right flick? He was just desperate to either put it into the path of Maxiu or take it himself. In the end, couldn't do either, but now again, Maxiu, oh, if only he'd stayed down. So many if-onlys starting to happen.
Pre-jumping not with confidence, but more in the fact of, I just need to be there quicker. I'm not thinking I'm going to win this ball straight away and so I can pre-jump and be a bit silly. It's more a case of, I need to be fast because of the speed that O1 possess right now. 1 minute 50, Maxiu again going for an attack.
LCT, he's going to wind one up. AMS is falling from the sky, but isn't going to be able to get the ball, but does instead get LCT. Commutator's in. Solid touch from him there. Maybe he could have just kept that one to himself for a second, tried to challenge a challenge. Force a challenge, should I say. Maxiu with a flip reset, not quite there again. It's over the top of LCT and Commutator. This, I'm certain, will be 3. 0-1, just wait and then strike.
Boys, come on. What was that? Literally, what was that? I don't know why LCT mid. I ended on 0 boost before he just ran out. Commutator still got 5 in the tank, but didn't fancy it. It's the throwing yourself at a ball in a silly position. There was no reason why that needed to be a double commit. It was a floater. You can call those. Yeah, I mean, maybe just try to rush things, forgetting that 1 minute and 25 seconds is a vast amount of time to get yourselves 1 goal. But Gladiators 1 goal
still has 1 minute and 15 to get 2 goals. It can be done. They have scored goals throughout this series. It's not been too much of an issue for them, especially when O1 start to overcommit and not quite respect their opponents in that final third. LCT over touch, he's got no boost to play with though, so Mosan can come in. Lovely first touch from him on his run, but Commutator again, a brilliant challenge and another one to allow Maxiu in.
Yeah, going for those close 50s, he's done very well for Commutator so far. It seems to be somewhat of a specialty of his, going for those low ones. LCT bumping Commutator out the way twice, and Zonics can just get a low flick underneath and into the middle of the net. and just poor rotations again. It's just, they're now separated by 3.
Ooh.
There must be over the top of them. Commentator technically making an amount of touch on it, but it's a lack of cohesion. It's ultimately playing with a sub.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Gladiators have done brilliantly throughout this series. Commutator has really impressed, considering all of the context which surrounds him being here. It is an impossible situation he's been dropped into, and he's done himself proud, and Gladiators have once again, so far, I mean, they've still got at least one more series to play after this one, done their region proud and done APAC South proud. They have to see this one away. Try and keep the scoreline respectable. 1-4, when you look at the results later on whatever website you look at results on, you'll see a 1-4 and you'll think, yeah, that's fair. If it turns into 5 or maybe more, it's like, ooh, so come on, Gladiators, hold strong until the end.
A 5-1 is a big statement in the end for 0-1. Ams slowing that ball down very intelligently, just wanting to squeeze it past the LCT, who I'm sure at the end of this won't be beating themselves up too hard. As I keep saying, Commutator is a sub. He's stepped up where not many people would be able to. He's got himself, I think, 3 goals in total. Ams, you don't really need to score that one, but I respect it.
I cursed them. I cursed them by saying 4-1's about right.
The 4-1 as a result is fine. 6-1, definitely less so. But 0-1, they will be going through into the 1-1 part of our wildcard stages.
Suddenly, though, I have to root for 0-1, because when it's 6-1 with 11 seconds left, it is Rocket League law that you have to want the Brazil. So will it happen? Will they want to be able to get one more to end this one with a flourish for themselves? I think LCT wants it too. I think everyone's happy with that Brazil. There's smiles all around for Gladiators as well.
Getting the 7-1 at the end of this, when literally 20 seconds ago you said that 4-1 isn't too bad, and they've nearly doubled their goals since then.
I shouldn't have said it.
It's a very cool Call 93 move indeed.
My bad.
But regardless, as I was saying, round 3, we'll be seeing 0-1 going into our 1-1 part of the wildcard stage. Just don't be 8. Grow up. Okay, it could still be 8. Regardless, Gladiators, they go through into the 0-2 part of the bracket, or rather into the Swiss stage. It nearly ends up being 8.
I think some of 0-1 want the Brazil and other ones want to score, so there's sort of like an internal battle going on right now. LCT, okay, if he ruins the Brazil, I'm so happy now. Okay, 0-1, get the Brazil, 7-1, well played.
It gets shut down in the end, as you say, and a clean, comfortable win, as much as you can do in this situation. The Rocket League World Championship sees another team drop down into the lower part of that Swiss. Congratulations to 0-1, congratulations to the Middle East. One of your teams is doing very, very well indeed.
Yeah, Gladiators, they started off this series in particular really well. 0-1, they had to sweat. There were 1-goal games.
They really did.
There were leads for Gladiators. There were stunning goals. LCT had a blinder. Max, you grow into it as the series went on. But Mossam, Sazonix, and AMS have done the job required of them. Beaten what's in front of them. Got their win. Got their win at Worlds, mate. You know, that's not easy for anybody to get over that line, and they have done it. So where can they go from here?
Into round 3 and into the 1-1. They have at least 2 more series to play, which is going to be good news for them. But otherwise, that is it as part of this here on the B stream. We are going to be going to a quick break, after which I'll be having a chat to 0-1 Esports.